The Match Ball.
Hello. Welcome to the Match Ball. Dan, Michael, and Rob here. Back from your holidays. Welcome back. You have a nice time, Rob? You glad to be back?
Loads better than that, yeah.
Yep.
We are very well and truly back, aren't we? That was a championshipy day, if ever there was one.
Yeah. Welcome back to the AFL, everybody. Do something about Levi's Solicitors because we haven't done the sponsor credit.
That's true, yeah.
They're propping up this whole pathetic enterprise.
What, Leeds United?
Yeah, all of it.
So, yeah, if you want your wills probate conveyancing and that, go there. If you've got running a business, you've got a member of staff who can't be asked, need to get rid of them. Probably need some legal advice on that too.
Yeah.
It's been a fun 24 hours, hasn't it?
They actually do employment law, don't they? Yeah, which is good. And dispute resolution. Wills probate conveyancing, 10% discount on your legal fees. LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. Yeah, what a bad old day or two it's been.
Not much redeeming about that, was there?
No. And we were saying, like, I just wanted us to feel something. No, we were saying, like, in that game, it was so bad, wasn't it? It was just so bad. There's just nothing to engage you. I found myself just looking at scores on FOTMob for other games.
It is one of those afternoons that I do think back to last season when people are like, yeah, the championship's loads better. Let's get relegated. It'll be great. It'll be loads of fun. Just show them that. That's the championship. 46 games of that.
I mean, the one thing for the championship is that we didn't lose that game like 4 or 5-0, which we should have done really because we kept giving the ball away and couldn't defend very well.
At least we'd have seen something happen.
Yeah, I suppose so. Being stamped on
Yeah.
would have been as much fun. I think probably my favourite bit of it was probably the opening 20, 25 minutes where we were really struggling to get any good radio reception.
Yep.
It was very buffery, wasn't it, the radio reception in the opening?
That was the moment where I felt, God, we're back, when I was sat in a dark room with you two, watching either a still screen or a stream with no commentary.
A radio stream.
Of course, yeah.
Tony B in the comments on the YouTube stream. We are streaming this live on YouTube for the TSB Plus members, those hardy souls who've chosen to join us to reflect on that defeat, which was just terrible. Tony B saying it would have been a good point under the circumstances. Do you agree with that?
It would have been. And I'm still not sure it was actually a penalty. But given the way the game went, you can't be too disappointed we didn't get anything from it because we didn't have any chances, did we?
No, Rute came on and had that air shot followed by the shot to the post, but that was about it. And there's the header not long after that, Sam Byram.
Which I think he actually missed. I think it came off the defender in the end.
Yeah.
I do feel like I should accept some blame for this because it was 72 minutes in. I was checking when the last time we kept a clean sheet was. So I was like, oh, well, at least that's one positive. And
when was it?
My birthday, which was 6 months ago.
Wow. Which game was that in?
Southampton.
Fucking hell.
1-0.
Junior Firpo scored in that.
Well, was that the month that we got out of him that was good?
Yeah, all done now. All spent.
Yeah. Oh,
Luke
man.
Ayling's broken as well, isn't he? Speaking of fullbacks.
Yeah.
Chaotic. Absolutely insane performance for him.
Yeah. The note I made is that he looks like a drunk man coming up, like an old drunk man. Like there's lots of times where his legs just seem to stop working.
Yeah.
He's always in the wrong side of the winger. And there was one moment where he got skinned yet again. And he actually got back and got a foot into a tackle. And then he just fell over. And it's like, that is Luke Ayling right now. And I love that man, but bloody hell.
It's all very sad, isn't it? That's how I feel. I don't really feel anything about today. It felt like there's very little jeopardy going into the game. Maybe that's just what the hallmark's been of this last couple of weeks. Like, I didn't feel that much jeopardy about the whole Cardiff game, nor with the Shrewsbury game, and nor today. Is this what the relegation hangover actually is? I don't know.
Not necessarily. You can be good and win some games.
Yeah,
like if we'd have spent the summer, or indeed any of the previous 2 seasons, building a half acceptable and balanced squad, this wouldn't be an issue now.
Yeah.
Things with the Cardiff game, the fun bit about that was seeing Sinisterra and Nonto and who else is there? Somerville, that's the other person. That's because I could think of the ones that are definitely on strike, and he's just potentially pretending to be injured. Because I've got doubts about his injury too now. I'm like, you little bastards, you're all together. I know you are. I don't care. Don't you put that limp with me. I know what you're doing.
That's on the basis that they got their haircut together
Correct,
this week,
yeah.
wasn't it? So they've all been pouring poison in each other's ears.
I said that as a joke,
You
and
did.
then would you believe it? The pair of them.
Yeah.
Fucking snakes.
Yeah. It's not been a good one, has it? League One, have you missed us? Asks Chris. It's not that bleak, is it? I mean, this is the other side to this. I mean, remove that stupid bloody penalty out of that game. And with our basically worst squad we've had in ages, we're still comfortably in that game at all times. It was never, we never looked like we were under threat. Admittedly, we posed no threat as well, but
Yeah, you looked at that team before the game, and it was like, oh, if that was like our League Cup team, I mean, it almost was, I guess. I'd get it. But it is incredible that we have this ridiculously unbalanced squad full of wingers, and we've ended up...
none of whom want to be here.
And we've ended up playing Jamie Shackleton on the wing, which I don't think was ever part of the plan.
Be interesting to see the comments when they start to drip through, because it feels like the Sinistera situation has just been... They're basically, there's a wall of silence until after the game. This is what they tend to do, isn't it? And then they reveal the bad news at the end of the game. So we'll get that any moment now, I imagine.
We'll get another club statement tonight saying, yeah, he's a bastard too.
I mean, he's surely going to be asked about it pretty much the first thing, I would imagine. As soon as he's able to speak to the press, that will be the first thing, won't it? So I guess we'll find out while we're doing this.
Well, I did conceive a scenario whereby he's not been as publicly difficult as Nonto has been. And admittedly, Willie's not expressed it himself in public, but it's made it into the public arena, hasn't it? The refusal to play and travel and all that sort of stuff.
The club have admitted it.
Yeah. Because it's obviously escalated to such a degree where it's become problematic. Whereas you wonder with Sinistera, because he's kept his head down, low profile, he's turned up for the games, he played his little cameo appearance against Shrewsbury through the week. That it's kind of, maybe it's just sailed under the radar a bit. And I'm absolutely sure they all probably want to leave. Nobody wants to be in this stupid division doing this stupid stuff, do they? Let's face it, they don't, do they?
Well,
no?
They could at least pretend.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is put a brave face on it. Try a bit.
But even still, I conceived a scenario whereby maybe they're saying, okay, right, well, if there is a deadline, if there's a cut-off coming for you to activate your clauses, and it's in a few days, I'll fine, sit this one out. If we get a bid, then off you go. It doesn't jeopardise the fee. It doesn't make him injured or anything like that.
If they were any fucking good, someone would have bought them already, is the truth of it.
Yeah.
Like, you can be desperate to have a move, but if... everyone has these release clauses, it seems, other than Nonto, but it seems the only bid we've had for Nonto is from Everton, which won't be very much money because they're skint.
Yeah.
If a good team wants to buy him and pay a decent bit of money for him, they can have him.
Yeah.
But until that point, I propose we just kick the fuck out of him in the under-18s for the rest of the season.
You've gone
as punishment.
Full bitterness on this, which I think is absolutely fine.
He's a prick. He can fuck off.
Yeah.
He needs to have a big grovelling apology to come back from this.
Yeah, are we on about Nonto here, by the way? Here.
Yes, yeah. Nonto and Sinistera as well. They're together in it now, as far as I'm concerned.
You imagine this full conspiracy. I mean, we're laughing about it. But it's all pretty miserable and angry, isn't it?
But you do wonder if Sinistera would have done this alone, or if they've seen Nonto's done it and gone, yeah, I might as well do that as well.
We don't know for sure that he has. I just wondered if maybe there's a little bit more understanding on the part of the club, though. That kind of, look, if a bid comes in, then fine, because he might have a clause, whereas Willie Winnow doesn't. So
yeah,
they can be a bit more aggressive with that. Aggressive, wrong word. Yeah, Stephen in the comments on YouTube, we need lots of things.
We do, lots of players.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of players.
We just did lots of good fortune,
don't we? We didn't realise we'd signed a striker on loan, though, did you, this week? But there he was, came off the bench.
Joe Rodon.
Get the big man up front and then just pass it around the back four for a bit. Great work.
It's all got a little bit nihilistic, hasn't it?
Nothing worked today, did it?
No.
Dan James, our one Premier League winger, I guess who was playing there. You just don't know whether he's going to run down the outside and fail to get across off the floor, or cut back on his right foot and sail it over the far post here. You just don't know. It could be either.
Flip of a coin.
Or sometimes just run into a corner and get tackled. But they're your options, aren't they?
Yeah. Richard Francis has described the situation as being unbelievable hard.
It is unbelievable hard.
It's not even funny that anymore, is it?
I feel so sorry for Farker. He must be just thinking, what have I done? What have I taken?
What have I done this for?
He's actually been basically in this position before. At the start of Norwich's second promotion season, I think there was a game at the start of that season where he just left Cantwell and Buendia out of the squad because they were basically just not trying because they wanted to move. I think it was around that time that it was Cantwell's agent was trying to talk him into a move to Leeds, even though it seems that we were never interested in him at all. And he just went, cool, I'm just going to not play him if they're not asked. And, they can sort themselves out, which I guess is the answer to Nonto and Sinistera. Like, if they don't want to play, cool, whatever, we'll just crack on. But the problem is we're not signing anyone.
No.
And it seems like the plan is we need them to go, which I find really strange.
And they're loads better than our other players. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Sinistera is a really, really good player.
That was the thing looking at our attack today of Shackleton, Pervader, who was on the left, Dan James, and then Joffrey up front. We just had like a bunch of elves up front, and it didn't really work.
That's good. Was it Wes in the comments has just said all our front four were on loan last year for not being good enough.
It's true.
Or for being not good enough, rather.
I mean, I always think with Dan James, I'm always like, when I'm not watching him play, I think like, oh, he's not that bad, and like he works hard, he seems like a decent guy. And then you watch him, and I was thinking like when I was watching the Cardiff game last week, there were moments watching him where I was like, this is how I felt watching Rasmus Christensen, like just frighteningly limited. And like there's times today when he gets the ball and he either just takes forever or he just can't get the ball off the floor. But then you just think, you're really quick, just run, take him on, like, do something, or at least do the bad thing really quickly and just get it out of the way.
do the bad thing quickly.
Put it out for a goal kick.
like
get on with it.
Going to the dentist or
Get
something.
back in shape.
Just get it done. Oh dear me, it's been a bad one, hasn't it?
Really bad. It was an awful, awful game to watch.
Yeah.
It's as bad a game of football as I've watched in a very long time.
And we've watched some really bad ones.
Well, the thing is, at the end of last season, there was only one team that was at least passable, whereas that was dire.
Yeah, there was just no cutting edge, was there?
I made some stats. I noted down some stats at half time. Actually, I think the XG was 0.13 to 0.17, 0 shots on target
For both sides.
Yep.
And where were we in the league at half time? I don't know where we are at full time, but
don't know. Actually, we were 15th at half time.
15th. Our spiritual home.
They'd had 41 passes in our half. We'd had 69 passes in their half.
Any high points? What about Archie Gray?
He had a few good moments. Ethan Ampadu, I like.
Yeah, he was our best player.
A couple of good moments of stopping really dangerous balls into the box, and then he's decent on the ball as well. And there was that really weird moment where the ref tackled him to set up a Birmingham counter-attack and just refused to stop the game, which I thought was unfair.
You should get onto the dickhead ref.
Do you want to?
You both thought it was a penalty, didn't you? I'm still not at all sure.
No, I was just worn down by that point, really.
Fine, have it.
Yeah, just so I can feel something. Yeah, just anything. No, I mean, it's just one of those things, isn't it? He didn't intend to bring him down, but they crossed paths and he tripped him up as a result of that. It wasn't.
Did he just run into him?
Yeah, I think so, but it wasn't a deliberate foul, but it probably denied him the chance to get onto the end of that ball.
I felt like if that was the other way, we would want a penalty.
I'd call him a diving little scumbag if it was the other way, to be honest.
You'd be celebrating calling him a diving little scumbag.
I would celebrate it and I would take the penalty, of course, but I still don't think that's a penalty.
Where do we go from here? They need to do something, don't they?
We need to buy realistically. If Nonto and Sinistera are both going to leave or not be available, do we need to sign about 6 players this week?
What do we need? Left back?
That's exactly what Adam's put in the comments. 6+ signings needed before we're even remotely competitive.
Yeah, left back.
Central midfielder, number 10. Couple of wingers.
Right
striker.
Back.
2 strikers maybe.
Right back?
Yeah, we've got right backs. We've got Sam Byram. We've got Cody Drama. I think we're covered enough. Buy a left back. We've got a right back playing at left back. If we buy a left back, the right back can play right back.
Yeah.
Which is a nice option.
Is that's allowed? Is that the thing that's allowed, is it?
You're allowed more than one left back in the squad. I know we've not bothered for a while.
I mean, Wedgebot is suggesting that a full rebuild is needed. I think that's what we're having inflicted upon us either way, aren't we? Do you just want rid of all the bastards now? Or everybody who Victor Orta signed, should we get rid?
Well, I was quite up for keeping Nonto and Sinistera because I thought because they're good players and I thought it'd be fun to watch. But it turns out they're dreadful human beings. Do you remember when the board, I can't remember if it was Kinnear or Orta, were making a thing about how before they sign, I think it might have been in the Championship, saying when they sign players, they go through a really long process and make sure the
characters are right.
The character's right and all that. And what in the Championship, we managed to sign a striker who couldn't be asked to get fit and a racist to play in net. And then we've got up and we've signed a load of shirking bastards. Brilliant. And now we've dropped down again and none of them want to be here.
You're not happy, are you,
Brilliant
Michael?
character checks. Well done, lads. Who did you ask? Their mums? Is he a nice lad? Yeah, he is, yeah. Oh, he want her to fly.
I'm enjoying your spikiness.
It's funny, like, before this game, I was just trying to be quite, like, zen about everything. Like, oh, it's fine, whatever. I'll just like the players that were playing for Leeds United. But now after watching that, I'm like, no, go on, get stuck into it.
It's such an awful game to watch. Awful.
Not if you were that Birmingham commentator. He was bloody loving it.
God, we didn't have him second half, did we, thankfully? But
apparently at full time he called it a momentous day.
For Birmingham in their history. I mean, to be fair, it's their first day, new owners. There's going to be a sense of renewal there, isn't there?
It's the old...
We've got new owners. Doesn't feel new.
Yeah.
We don't get that renewal.
They need to get crack on this week, don't they? Absolutely no excuses now. Because that's just fucking shambolic that was today, wasn't it?
If it needs rebuilding, start rebuilding. Don't wait for the last remnants to just crumble and fall down, because it's just ridiculous.
It's starting to look like really weak leadership, isn't it? Like the fact that, so it seems like half the idea was to retain people. If this is what their research has shown them, how you get back up, you retain people. Not being very good at doing that.
No.
And we've not replaced them. So we're kind of in this bizarre hinterland of nothing.
If the plan is to retain people, you probably have to ask the people who you're planning to retain if they want to stay. Because if they don't, you're left with a bit of a problem.
And ask them, are you telling the truth?
Do you really want to stay? Can I have a look through your mobile phone?
Well, it was like, was it on Twitter? There was that video of the club interviewing the players on the media day, and it was like, oh, what game are you most looking forward to? And they all said like, oh, the first one. It was like, because then we're all off after that, if that's all right.
Yeah, the one I'm going to try in while I'm still trying to get a move. After that, not interested really.
Well, people in the YouTube comments are enjoying your performance, Michael.
Thanks.
Bill is suggesting that you are killing it, which I think is youth speak for doing a good job.
I may do some more killing this evening. Who knows?
There it is.
Let's see what time they're at the back at Ellen Road.
It's on.
If any of them can indeed be bothered. They might just not. Just go straight home.
Yeah. Tom's mentioning Gelhardt being disappointing. Not really offering much, is he? I mean, I know he's not got much behind him, but
I mean, mind you, how big would you have to be to get on the end of a Dan James cross, realistically?
You can see he needs to be tiny.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I was going to say maybe that's why they put Rodon up front, and Tony's actually saying it might have been worth playing him up front from the start of the second half. Bigger target.
Cresswell next game.
Yeah. I mean, we were joking, weren't we, in here, saying that's probably our best route towards scoring is a corner that Cresswell powers in later on. Didn't happen though, did it?
Nope.
No.
Who was taking corners today?
Dan James, I think.
Yeah.
It's nice that we can laugh, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, the information is now starting to trickle through. Popey has just tweeted saying initial reports are that Sinistera was, and I use this term in quotes, unavailable.
Okay. Good for any reason?
Nope. No reasons. Just busy.
It's busy. Yeah, I mean, for anyone not
busy
following,
being in breach of their contract.
not following the development of the story, it was last night, wasn't it? The rumours started to circulate that he was also not going to be travelling for the same reason as Nonto. And then there was nothing official until, people saw him getting on the bus today and were like, yep, he's not on the bus.
No. And we were left with that. I mean, like, just no cutting edge whatsoever up front. And this is the annoyance, is like, fine, footballers are dickheads, they're going to look after their own interests. But we had a really direct consequence of that today, in that we had just nothing going forward.
And we saw Birmingham. Like, they were pretty terrible.
Yeah.
It was very apt that it was Jutkovic who scored the penalty. When he came on, it was like, God, is he still here? Like, the championship really hasn't changed, has it?
Yep. I expected it to be a header from a corner, to be perfectly honest, when he came on, but I knew he'd score. So to do it with a shit penalty that went straight down the middle.
I like how spiky you've been today.
Probably fair enough.
It's very, very good.
So right, go through then. So Ayling was terrible. I suppose the rest of the defence wasn't too bad, was it?
No, it was fine.
I felt that was all right. They didn't really create too many problems for us.
Melee, I mean, it shows what a terrible game it was that one of my notes from the first half is that Melee caught a corner, which felt like a significant moment.
I didn't have any notes until
Ampadu was good.
I didn't have any notes till the 80th minute.
Gray was all right. The front was just awful, and it didn't particularly improve when old Airshot Boy came on, did it? That was his first act, was to a big swing and a miss, which then he inadvertently assisted himself almost.
It's hard to watch this game and not just feel like you're viewing it all through the lens of the bigger picture, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, how have we found ourselves in this stupid situation? Like, so look at some of the trash in the Premier League today, and it's all lost because it's all rubbish.
Yeah.
Watching the Cardiff game last week, I was wondering, like, surely the 49ers are watching this and going, oh, right, if we just do the obvious things like buy a left back, buy a striker, maybe this will be better, and it might actually be, like, decent almost. But yeah, the complete, like, just inertia of nothing happening other than us shedding more players. We had 8 players on the bench and 2 of them were goalkeepers. Like, can't really get through a championship season like that.
No, and go back to the imbalance as well, the ridiculous thing of having a £35 million striker who has still not scored a goal for us. He's one option off the bench. The others are a couple of midfielders who are not probably going to play very much at all, a couple of goalkeepers, and a defender stroke striker who is on loan from Spurs. It's like, what a ridiculous point we're at.
And you can say that these injuries as well, but most of those players are probably going to get sold, aren't they? Like
yeah.
Harrison, Adams, Somerville, still massive question marks over them.
But we can't sell Adams because apparently his internal organs have all dropped out or something. I can't remember what it is.
I wonder where you were going to go with that then when you paused.
I wondered too. I didn't know what I was going to say. He's returned fully paralysed from his medical with Chelsea, and we're hoping that he'll walk again. I think is about the gist of it. But yeah, the story today is that he's out for another 4 months.
The recovery might take up to 4 months. But you wonder if that's just Chelsea's cover story for the fact that they're pissing around trying to sign every central midfielder in the world.
Do you remember at the end of last season when we were trying to pretend that Adams might be back?
Yeah, for the run-in.
For the run-in.
Yeah. We're getting some comments coming through now from the presser, so thank God we can actually talk about something, because it feels there was so little that happened in that game. There's just nothing to say. I mean, I've noted down...
There's just really bad football.
Yeah, the route of substitution, the air shot that he did.
You once again, by the way, for... How many times has he played for Leeds? About 15?
Oh, too many.
I'd say it's 15. It's the 15th time you've gone, he's going to guess something here. Your backing of him is admirable.
No, I want him to succeed. I was saying this is the day when it kicks in and he saves us and it's his moment. But I've made sort of 3 notes, which was the one where Long should have scored from the header after about 80. Byram's header should have gone in at the other end about 4 or 5 minutes later, and then they had that chance from the corner, and then underneath that I've just put penalty. That was it. That's some total of what I've got on the game.
There was that moment in the first half where they looked like they should have scored at the back post, and then the ball just went out for a throw-in, which sort of summed up how good Birmingham were, or how bad they were, I should say. But yeah, we didn't have much to... Did we have any chance in that first half? No. I think because the stream was bad, we missed Ampadu shoot well over, and Dan James sort of had a shot blocked at the back post. But yeah, nothing really happened.
XG of 0.16 or whatever it was.
Yeah, Farker said, when you judge the game, 1 point for each team would have been deserved. We had more possession, but they had individual quality in their counter-attacks. Defensive quality was dominating the game, and there weren't many chances, which I think is quite generous of him.
Defensive quality dominating the game is, yeah. That's one way of saying both teams couldn't attack for shit. Right,
so Sinistera, he was not available. There will be a time when we talk about this situation. I don't explain more. And on Helder Costa, remember that guy, wants to leave the club, so hasn't been involved over the summer. Says he had 8 players on the bench because they were the only 8 players he felt were properly ready, which doesn't say a lot for Sonny Perkins, does it?
I mean, it doesn't say a lot for the squad that we're like, God, where's Sonny Perkins? But yeah,
assuming he's not injured, that is. But cheers, lads, great.
So Victor's fallback option for going down was that people like Perkins can step up.
It turns out they can't step up.
And Darko JB. That went well the other night.
It's turned out they can't step up. And the ones that we signed that we thought, may be able to take us back up are all wanting to go. Great. And so Farker's not saying what's going on with Sinistera. You wonder, like I say, if that's got a bit of distance to run over the next 2 or 3 days. No one wants to be here, but we are here.
I hope it's because he's under Farker's patio. That's why he's not saying anything.
No one wants to be here, but we have to be here. And that's the fun part, isn't it?
I think that's the thing. You look forward to the game on a Saturday as like a bit of an escapism from like just the sheer tedium of transfer talk through the week. Like I was so bored of the Caicedo stuff when it was like, we've been told all summer, he's like, oh, he's off to Chelsea. And it's like, no, he's off to Liverpool. And it's like, no, he's actually off to Chelsea. And the Harry Kane thing of, oh, he's going to Bayern. And then the last week it was like, no, he's going to stay. And then it was like, no, he's got to Bayern. And then it was a drip feed of Sky Sports News. Breaking news, Harry Kane's flight is at 4:50 p.m. Harry Kane has boarded his flight. Harry Kane has landed in Munich. It's just like, who gives a fuck? And it just feels like it's an industry absolutely like eating itself. And you think, oh, I'd like football on a Saturday. It'll be great, a nice bit of escapism. And then, oh, God.
You're just constantly reminded by how it's just filled with a lot of shit bags, aren't you? Like, it's the thing that you love, and it's a deep emotional connection on a level you can't explain to people who don't feel the same as you about a football club. It's an impossible thing to quantify. And then these mercenary fuckers just ruin everything. Sign contracts that they've got no intention of abiding by. I've got absolutely no sympathy for Willie Gnonto whatsoever, because you signed the contract and your idiot agent, who's now trying to get you out of the club, just let you sign it without a clause. And we were giving out clauses like confetti. You daft little twat. Honestly. Adam's asking, is there any actual point in trying to keep these lads who want to leave? Surely we're just better off cashing in. I mean...
Only for cruelty.
Yeah.
Can we keep Willie onto in a cage for a period? I don't know. Hang him outside the East Stand?
Well, he might argue
that... throw fruit at him or something?
He might argue that's exactly what we're doing right now anyway.
Yeah, I only want to keep him to punish him a bit, really.
Just been asked what we're drinking. It's the knockoff fruit twist Fanta, isn't it? It's nothing. It's not a cocktail.
From Aldi. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like Willie Nonto to stay and play because he's really good, but he don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm quite up for punishing him in cruel and unusual ways.
And the other side to this is it's very rare that the club has the whip hand here. So I think we're right to sit tight with it and make him realise that he's got limited options here. So bollocks to him.
It's actually a chance to show for the club to be in the driving seat with a player's contract, which is what Farke was asking for. Like, he doesn't have a release clause, so either someone pay up for him a lot of money, and if not, sorry, Willie, you've got to stay in Leeds, and you can have a sit and sulk and not play, or you can sort your life out and start working hard and scoring some goals. And, that's the route back.
And if he sulks and doesn't play, that will ruin his international career, which seems to be one of the main drivers for his behaviour here.
Which would be a shame. It's very hard not to be incredibly bitter about these things, isn't it? But my other hope is that, fine, we sell him, whatever. I hope he gets injured straight away.
Yeah.
I hope he's out for the... if he forces a transfer this way, you think, if he broke his leg next week, would I actually feel sorry for him at that point? Probably not. Not suggesting it's going to happen.
You're going to rock up to Everton training or something.
But, yeah, there's... From football's point of view, I can see that you might want to move, but there are ways of doing it, aren't there? And it's not a Berardi situation even where you're at the end of a contract and you think, well, I don't want to play and get injured because I'm going to be out there in 3 weeks. If he gets injured next week, we continue to pay him for 4 years. And if he did get injured in training, is he going to say, I know I wanted to leave, so it's not really fair that you continue paying me, is it? I'll not bother with that. I know footballers are very happy to take the money when they're clearly not deserving of the salary they've been given. Like Junior Firpo isn't going into the office, is he going, I think you accidentally offered me too much money because I'm useless. Is there any chance you could knock that down because I don't feel like I really deserve it anymore because my performances have shown I'm terrible. Nonto had about 10 good games and seems to think he's able to demand whatever he wants. He can go wherever he wants, even for a fee that we don't feel is acceptable.
And if he thinks he can go wherever he wants, don't go to Everton. No. Terrible, and they don't have any money to buy you. Like, choose a better destination if you're going to be a little twat.
Well, I guess we should wrap it up because we've done the time. Feels like we've been served up the crime. The leaving thought on this is just pull your fingers out because this is pathetic. Like, it's all fine, doing your analysis and having your reports and all this sort of stuff. But it almost feels a little bit like if that is what they're doing and everything has to be done analytically, it's like paralysis by analysis, isn't it? You just never do anything. Just sometimes go and do what you need to do. And if you're going to bandy around terms like aggressive, if that's how you're going to treat the transfer window, go and do it now.
Phil has just tweeted Farke on the transfer window and future recruitment. He says, there's confidence. I totally believe in the quality of our people. Sometimes it's a bit difficult. We can't make ourselves a different reality. But it's about staying calm, not to panic.
So what he's talking about there is the clauses, and the clauses presumably passing in the next few days, week or whatever, and then we know where we are. We know we've got what the wage bill looks like. But yeah, he's right. You can't alter the reality. But the reality is we just lost 1-0 to Birmingham with a completely toothless performance with a scratch squad. And that is in their gift. That was in their power.
And the other reality is we've needed a left back and a striker for 2 years.
And the other
2 years.
The other reality is that the 49ers have invested in the club for the past 5 years. I'd love to know the point when they found out about these clauses. Yeah. Like, did they take over on whatever day it was and then go like, Angus, can you please just explain this to us? You didn't tell us about this.
Pat Bamford will not be fit. Junior Firpo will not be good. Please, for the love of God, buy a left back and a striker.
Right, let's wrap it up.
Please.
Sort it out. Just sort it out, dickheads.
The Match Ball.